Hi class, this is just a quick film to fill you in on some things about the proposal assignment. I wanted to make sure that we're all aware that the due date has been extended to 5 p.m. April 26th, which is Monday, for your final draft. I want to talk a bit about formatting today. If you look in your textbook, starting on page 546, you will see an example of a proposal. This is essentially how I would like you to format your proposals. I want the cover page on 546 as well as the cover letter on page 547, as you can see in the book. Now, please be aware if you've chosen topic 1, which is the health topic, that you are addressing the cover letter to a doctor. The doctor, pretend like it's me. You could say Dr. Courtney Smith. That will be fine. Address the letter to me. Pretend like I'm the doctor. However, when you get into the actual body of your proposal, your audience will be the patients in the doctor's office, not the doctor any longer. So please bear that in mind. Your audience will kind of shift. The cover letter is to the doctor to accept the proposal that you have made. The proposal audience itself will be, for the proposal itself, will be the patients in the doctor's office. So please bear that in mind. I don't believe that's clear on the assignment sheet. I also wanted to remind you that although you'll have the cover letter formatted as you see on page 546, and the title page like 546, as well as the cover letter on 547, you'll then have the table of contents or outline, whichever you prefer, but you will have to have your pages correspond to your page numbers correspond to the table of contents or outline. Also want to add, although you will not put the numbers on the title page or the cover letter, you will want to number in the header of your pages of your proposal. You want to put page numbers, and notice that on the example page on page 548, at the top in the header, you will see funding proposal and then the lowercase Roman numeral 3. You will want to have that as that will be the introductory material for your proposal. And you wouldn't say funding proposal, you can say wellness proposal if that's what you're proposing, but a title or name there that corresponds to the kind of proposal that you are doing. Also, you can use the formal outline format, which is on pages 196 to 198 in your book as well. So skip the informative abstract. You will not have that on page 549. Also, if you'll notice, I have listed here the statement of the problem, the background information, the data information. That only use what's appropriate there. You don't have to use every single one of those. Only use what's appropriate for your proposed plan. The same way with the plan, the body of the plan as well. Only use what's appropriate there. So if you look at the examples from page 550 to 551, going through, I also want to add the visual. Make sure you follow the guidelines that are outlined in chapters 13 and 14 as far as the best way to use visuals. Label tables, label figures, label appropriately, and label the source information for visual aids as well, for any pictures, etc. Don't forget to use the checklist on page 556 in your book for your proposal before you turn it in. Also, you'll want to refer to the in Blackboard. If you go into course content, I have some resources available for you under major assignments, and if you click on the proposal, inside the proposal, of course, there's the assignment sheet. The due date's been updated to the 26th. There's MLA formatting and citations that is available for you now to look at if you need. Also, how to incorporate your quotes correctly into your proposal. Your numbers rules and the vertical list rules will also be important, as you may have to use a list or numbered or bulleted list in your proposal. And finally, make sure that you can refer to page 313 in your book to see how to appropriately use the headings in your proposal. Again, that will be page 313 to get a visual of how to use headings appropriately. That's on page 313. One other thing I wanted to add, the appendix. If you'll look on page 548, one of the things listed is an appendix. That is optional. You do not have to use an appendix. The only time you would need to use an appendix perhaps is, say your visual is a map, and the smaller you make it to fit inside your page, of course, because when you use visuals you want to keep them close to the text that refers to them for context for your reader, as chapter 13 and 14 discussed. The reason I would see that you would need to use an appendix is if your visual is a map, and the smaller you make it, the harder it is to read, something of that nature. Perhaps you had a survey, you used a survey to gather information for your proposal. If you did that, I would want a copy of that survey, the questionnaire. That might be an appendix. Otherwise, you really don't need to worry about the appendix. That is optional. Finally, I wanted to show you very quickly for this week. If you go back to course content, there's a couple ways to access the peer review assignment for this week. You can go into week 13 and 14, and then there is a link inside there for the peer review of drafted proposals. That's actually takes you to peer review groups. You can also click on the groups link right here. Takes you to the same page. I'll go into the first one that I have listed here on my end. As you can see, all you need to do is go into the group discussion board and post your go into the thread, post reply to the thread, and in your reply attach the file of your rough draft of the proposal, as I am doing now. So you hit on reply, and then at the bottom there is an option, you can type whatever you'd like here. My rough draft is attached, and then click on attach file and find the file, attach it, and then it would be attached, and hit submit. And then you will then download someone else's rough draft of their proposal and post a reply to the thread with your feedback about responding to the list I put on the original posting. Feedback regarding grammar mechanics, the formatting as outlined in the book, organization, development, the quality of the sources. Remember, I prefer that you use sources from the library first, as well as attribution and documentation. Are they following the MLA rules? So on and so forth. That concludes this film.